Mackenzie from Representative Ivey's office. We'll hear from her in just a few minutes, but if we first could everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And just take a moment of silence to keep everyone in your prayer and thoughts and our difficult times that we are having across the world, and particularly in neighborhoods. So just a moment of silence. Okay, thank you everybody for being here this evening. And Beth, the mayor asked me to go ahead and have you go ahead and start. So Beth McKenzie is from Representative Glenn Ivey's office. And so we're glad to have you here with us tonight, Beth.
Hi, thank you so much for having me tonight. Excuse me, I have a little frog in my throat. It's always a pleasure to be back at town meetings. I love all the civic activity at these. I am here tonight just to kind of let you know about an event we have coming up, and also remind folks that we are here to help. We're here to help the towns. We're also here to help your constituents. So if you hear from constituents that they're having issues with any federal agency, or they just need to go somewhere, we have a whole entire district office staff that's prepared to help, that's prepared to reach out to PEPCO, that's prepared to reach out to the Social Security Administration. So please do not be afraid to reach out to us, and we can try to get you connected with the resources that you need. But we are also here to do what my boss thinks is one of the best things, is to try to bring money back into the district. We have a webinar coming up on December 4th at 3 p.m. and I'm going to drop the link in the chat. And we're going to talk about community project funding for next year. So we've got, we don't do grants the same way that the county council does, but we are able to put in earmarks. It's what they're traditionally called, in appropriations bills. And that comes up in the early spring. So last year it was March, sometimes it's February. So it's very soon. And it's an opportunity to put something directly into an appropriations bill for a specific project. There are specific rules around it that the Republicans, because they're in charge, they get the chance to make all of those rules. But there is still a really good opportunity. We got 15 accepted last year, and that's our limit. So we've got a good track record so far of getting different projects in. So please come and join us on December 4th at 3 p.m. It'll be over Zoom, and we'll talk more about the process. One of the things we've been talking about lately is trying to see if we could get municipalities to work together under one municipality, or under something like the Neighborhood Design Center or some other like not local nonprofit group on shared projects. So I know water, I'm in Cheverly, we have water issues. It doesn't stop at our Cheverly line, it goes next door, Fairmount Heights has it. I know the port towns have a lot of water issues. So we wanna make sure that we can work together with our neighbors. One thing to note, and you'll find more about this at our event, we like to have these projects be in the $1 million plus range. And so we had some folks come in and be like, oh, we just need 15 grand. And I'm like, no, this is actually for a bigger scale project. So we want to make sure that we put in a big request so that when the Republicans, take some of it away, we still have enough money to do the good work. But we are very excited for this. I'm going to drop it in the chat, and I'm also going to drop my email in the chat. Please reach out to our office if you need anything, if you have constituents who need anything. We are here to help. We are a resource for you, and we are so excited to get to collaborate with all the awesome municipalities in our district.
Terrific, Beth. Yeah, we are very excited to work with you, and the port towns are working really hard. We recently met with the Lieutenant Governor's office. Lieutenant Governor was here for a conference, the Maryland Municipal League, and the port towns had Mayor James invited her down, and all the elected officials, the mayors from Cottage City, Colmer Manor, Bladensburg. And so we did start putting together a list of some big joint projects. So while it wouldn't be a nonprofit, but it would be one of our communities applying for all four communities potentially for a project. So as you just said, water flooding is a big issue for Bladensburg, Edmonston, Cottage City. And so that's some of our focus is on what we can do to improve situations in that area, stormwater management, drainage, that kind of thing. So may lend itself well to a project of that size. Just replacing our storm drain system here in Edmonston is $10 million. So, so that's a lot of money that we'd have to have help with maybe over time. But yeah, very good. So you put in the chat, you said you're connect. Okay, good. Okay, very good. Does anyone have any questions or from Beth? Beth, you may not know this, but does Representative Ivy think that the government will shut down, or will they maybe be able to reach agreement?
That is a good question, and you're actually reminding me of something else I need to share. We are acting as if it is possibly going to happen. Last time there was a last minute change, and so that was delightful, but it came as a surprise to us all. So it's anybody's guess with the new speaker. We've got to figure it out. But next Monday, November 13th at 7:15, we're going to hold another teletown hall. And I don't have a link for that right now, but we will be calling all folks that are in our system. So if you received a call for our last teletown hall, you'll receive one again. And we'll send the flyer over tomorrow so that you can share that. And so we're hoping to have a couple new speakers on to be able to help folks try to navigate the system. But yes, we are preparing as if it might happen. So
okay.
Hopefully not. We're crossing our fingers because we're federal employees too. So we very much want it to not happen, but we understand for the 46,000 federal employees in our district, and not to mention all the contractors, this is a huge deal for us. So we'll do what we can. Okay, and I will say, if we shut down, our office is still open.
Okay.
So we're still here to help in any way we can. So.
Great. Any questions from anyone else? No? All righty. Well, Beth, thank you. And thank you for providing that information. I know I'll be on December 4th, and I know I get the telelinks that for the Representative Ivy's of meetings like that. So I'll hear what's going on, the latest on that on 13th. So, and you'll definitely hear from us after the webinar, probably for a project, because flooding is we want to try to stop it from happening, and anything we can come up with to make that happen, we will.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't think the mayor's back yet, so we can move on to public comment. And do we have anyone? Mark? Okay, Mr. Schroeder.
Hi. Thank you for this opportunity. And I noticed that Margaret Pooley is here too. I asked her a week or two ago how I would bring a problem to the appropriate officials in Edmonston, and she said this was where to do it. I live in College Park. I bicycle through Edmonston twice a day, going to and from work. You have a five-way stop at Decatur Road and Taylor Road and the Anacostia Bike Trail, which goes north and south from there. So there are 5 stops there, north and south on the bike trail, east and west on Decatur, south on Taylor. And the good news is that everybody does stop at those stops. The bad news is that there's no agreement whatever about what happens next.
Mr. Schroeder, Mr. Schroeder, you're cutting in and out.
Yes.
You're missing part of what you're saying.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
It might help if you go off video, and maybe we can just hear you on audio. It might be clearer. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Much better.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's a 5-way stop the Anacostia Bike Trail, Decatur Road, Taylor Road. During a 2-week period in September, I was very nearly hit three times nearly three times in 2 weeks. Once by a taxi going west on Decatur when I was coming north on the bike trail. Once by a commercial truck going east on Decatur when I was coming south on Taylor. And once by probably a ordinary passenger vehicle coming south, turning left from Taylor as I was trying to come from the Anacostia Bike Trail onto Taylor. So I think it's clear. First of all, my belief is that until it was almost too late, none of those drivers even knew I was there. I think people on Decatur who don't live there, and remember, two of them were commercial drivers. People who don't live in that immediate area are probably not aware that there is a bike crossing there. And if they are, they don't know what the rules are about who has precedence between cars and bikes. Now, if I would suggest that Edmonston should tell people, first of all, that there is a bike crossing there, and second, tell them who has to yield. Now, if you say bikes have to yield to cars, I'd be surprised, but I'd live with it. It's better than getting hit. Right now, it's not clear to anybody who is supposed to yield to who. And so I am just going to ask for you to give this to your staff and have them look at it. And I think if they look at it, they will see that there is a problem. And there are various ways you can deal with that problem. In Montgomery County, they put up signs saying bike crossing. In the district, they sometimes put up big mirrors so you can see who's coming at you from an unexpected angle. There are multiple choices.
We do have, Mr. Schroeder, we do have blinking pedestrian crossing signs for, and of course, in Maryland, cars have to stop for those pedestrian crossing. I hear what you're saying about adding maybe something that says something about bike crossing also, but we do have those flashing. We added about a year ago when somebody came to us with this similar issue.
Do you have them on Decatur?
Yes, they're on Decatur. Mm-hmm.
And I walk that every day.
Well,
at that corner I walk every day, and I see cars that do run the stop sign, and I also see people either walking or on bikes. They have a stop sign also to cross Decatur Street. So if a car
I agree.
If a car is in the process of turn and they did stop, I do see bikers and I do see pedestrians jump in front of the cars. So it's something that it goes both ways. I think that intersection, it's well.
I would just ask you to have your staff look at it and see what else could be done to make it safer.
Absolutely, Mr. Schroeder. Can we get your address in College Park, please?
4909 Muskogee Street, like in Okie from Muskogee. College Park 20740.
Awesome, and we appreciate the concern. We obviously want the bikers. We encourage biking in our community. We're going through water main replacement throughout the town, and we're getting ready to repaint all the stripes in all the streets that have bike lanes. And so this is really important. We can talk to our engineer. That intersection is one that we've discussed many times. So we appreciate you bringing those concerns forward, and we will certainly take a look at them.
Thank
And
you.
Mayor, you're back. We're on
Thank you.
public comment.
Yes, thank you so much. Is there anyone else have any comment? Public. If not, hi, Margaret Pooley. How are you?
Good, thanks. And thanks, Mark, for coming in and telling us about the issue that I have already known about. And I too take that, just like most of us here do travel on the bike path a lot. Thanks for getting those flashing signs up. The only other thing I would recommend is having some etiquette signage up for the folks on the bike path, because there's some very fast scooters, and we've also have some like motorcycles that don't belong up there, and it's very scary when they're there. So
On the actual path you're
oh my
referring
gosh,
to, or
yes.
on Decatur?
Oh, no, I'm still just talking about the Northeast Branch Trail.
Mhm.
So yes, they're
Yeah.
very scary. The scooters don't even make any noise. Like I'll be walking the dog and all of a sudden there's just like a
They're there.
whizzing by. And luckily my dog's like an old man. He's a man dog. And he just doesn't, our old dog would have jumped over and knocked over the scooters. But anyway, thanks for looking into it. And I'm all for public safety.
Yeah, we can probably talk to Park and Planning about that. I know I've seen some signage about motor vehicles on the bike path, but probably there's not enough.
Yeah, I have the park police on speed dial because you can call them, and if you see them and tell them which way they're going, they can get them. But they're so fast. By the time they get to Riverdale Road or out to Charles Armentrout, it's too late.
Yeah.
Maggie, do you know, or does anybody here know if like those electric scooters are permitted on the trail?
I believe
You
they
mean
are.
the rentable ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they are only because they
Yeah.
don't have a motor. So that's part of the reason why DC went with them is that they were non-motorized and they can still be accessible for the public.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I had an electric one, I would take the bike path.
But I would hope you would let us know, like honk your horn. when you're
Yes,
passing.
yes, I would. I definitely would. So etiquette is important.
Yeah.
Yeah. They usually bikers say left side or right, to your right, to your left. Yeah. That kind of thing. Thank you, Ms. Pooley. Good
Thank
seeing
you. Good seeing you.
Miss Vicky, you had a comment. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I actually have two comments. The first one is there's a concern within the neighbors regarding all the break-ins that have been happening with the cars.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Vicky, would you please state your name and your address?
Sure. My name is Vicky Couts, and I'm at 5101 Crittenden Street, right on the corner of 51st and Crittenden. And I'm concerned, as well as I know my neighbor was on, but she said she got kicked off, about all the break-ins in the cars that we've been having. And it's actually gotten worse over the year. My neighbor's car was broken into just last week. They stole his tools. And according to my neighbor, the rock that they used was left in their driveway along with a bottle of water that the perpetrators drank, and they threw it in their yard. The police were called, the police came, but the police said there was no evidence. So I'm not sure. That's obviously from someone else's perspective. She just shared it with me. But I am concerned because the car was parked right in front of my car. This has been going on for some time. Neighbors down the street on the opposite side had their work vehicle broken into. So I just want to know if there's a plan in place, because we are concerned. There are neighbors in the neighborhood that are not reporting incidents to the police because they feel like nothing is being done. So that's been told to me also from another resident. So I just wanted to know if there's anything in place, a plan for what to try to prevent these break-ins.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vicky. I'll allow our chief to go ahead and address you briefly. He has a response.
So the main thing is when they don't call the police, it's harder for me to deploy the officers in a specific location. So I actually got the calls for the month of October, and only 2 people called, and we responded to those locations in reference to that. So I'm not saying that it has to be a huge volume of calls for us to deploy. It's mainly if I know about incident, like we had a discussion about the cars parked on Crittenden. Once you put that to my attention, we went down there and we gave up those tickets and told the cars it didn't belong. So the way the police department operates is if we know, I can deploy officers in that office. I can mitigate the schedule to fit and have an officer conduct a premise check down that location for 30 minutes to an hour just to deter the crime. But what happens is when we don't know, I deploy them into the areas where I get the most break-ins, Ingraham, Buchanan Street, stuff like that. So now that I'm aware of that, we'll come up with a game plan to redeploy officers to either come in early in the day and stay later in the night, and to actually post that. I've actually had one of my officers stay until 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and she's been taking them amongst herself to actually just sit in the park with her cruise lights on. And in reference to the water bottle and the rock, it's hard for us to process that evidence only because the rock is not a porous material. So for us to process that, we won't get anything off of it. And we still have to pay the county in order to process it. And the wait time for that will probably take longer than us actually making a lockup and seeing somebody go to jail for the crime. We was to process the water bottle, same thing. We processed it, not saying that nothing's going to be done. It's just that by the time it gets to court, it's up to the courts on whether they're going to send them to jail, community service, or if the officer elects to give them a ticket. So now that that's brought to my attention, we will redeploy officers into that area to increase the visibility.
Yeah, because there just doesn't seem to be a lot of police presence. That's what we are talking about in the neighborhood. Like we see everybody over at Three Brothers or out on Kenilworth, but there's a lot of things happening back here, and traffic is still an issue. I've been here, 18 years now, and it's still an issue. They're still going down the one-way street. But that's a whole nother can of worms.
So each patrol vehicle has a GPS monitoring system. So when I heard the complaint that they didn't see the officers, I actually looked at each police officer's vehicle GPS, and they actually use that route up Crittenden to come back to the station. So you may not see them all day, every day on Crittenden, but they are traversing through that neighborhood quite often just to get back to the station or hit the other part of town. In reference to the one-way streets, a lot of time, we have 1 or 2 officers working the shift. So if they're tied up on a domestic call that requires 2 officers, or on a traffic stop that requires 2 officers, that's 2 officers in the town of Edmonston that's not at that physical location to catch everybody going through that one-way sign. If officers see it, they will address it.
And then the last thing I have to say, there is a couple that's walking around town feeding the cats. We have an overabundance of cats in town. We also, I believe, from them walking around, because they'll put a little bit of food here and then they'll put a little bit of food down the street. I've seen raccoons increase. Like I actually cannot let my dog out at night in my backyard because of raccoons. And I've seen them running up and down Crittenden Street. I don't know if there's any policies or anything about excessive cats, which is not fair to the cats because they're producing and they're all over the place. I've seen dead cats on the street, and this couple is going around feeding them. I don't know if there's any policies for that or anything that we can do to hinder this from happening. Because to me, I'm an animal lover, and it's not fair to all these cats that are all over the place. So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know.
So I had to do some research. That's a good question and a good comment to see what our course of action will be. If anything, we will reach out to Prince George's County Animal Control and see if they can come out and try to do like a mass capture or something, if that's something they do. And if it is, I would definitely reach out to you and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I believe for that mass capture, they expect you to do that.
There is an organization, Chief, that Councilmember Chester
yeah,
brought into the community. They will catch and neuter or spay the cats. And if they can find a home, great. But if not, they'll bring them back and turn them loose. But that will help with the reproducing, obviously. But we can get that information from Ms. Chester, and we can try to bring them back into the community a few more times. She had them come numerous times for a while and help doing controlling the population.
Seems like they need to hang around a little bit longer if we still have that issue. But thank you, Ms. Vicky, for your comments and your questions. And then I'd also like to encourage you that if any of the other residents do come to you that say that their vehicle has been broken into or someone broke into their backyard, encourage them to contact the police. I know a lot of people are hesitant for many different reasons, but just like the chief said, it really will help his report really reflect what's going on in our community. And like he said, it would help him assign his officers to the right place. So thank you very much. Yes, Ms. Turberville.
Thanks, Mayor. Chief, I wonder if we could, and Vicky, I don't want to suggest that this is the solution to the problem you raised about the break-ins, but this is more like in addition to beefing up patrol or whatever we might do. I wonder if it would be useful to maybe drop a note, like maybe a door hanger or something on folks' doors along Crittenden and people who have been experiencing the uptick there, to say that, we're watching, please do report if this happens. And also, please do not leave your valuables in your car. That's, because there's just some mitigation that people can do themselves. I remember when I lived in DC, we had a huge problem with this in the parking garage that we were parking our car in. And we just left the windows down and the car unlocked and the valuables in the car every single night. And no problem. Right. So it's not to suggest that more needs to be done, but just to sort of, try to prevent people from continuing to experience this if it can possibly be avoided.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's something we can actually put on constant contact, but
put it on our social media platform. Maybe a month or two ago when the weather started to change and we had a serious increase of it in the county as well as here in Edmonston. Mainly, most of our car break-ins came in from the industrial part of the town because the cars sit so long, and that's what makes the suspects come into the town of Edmonston because they look at it as a huge gold mine for car parts, and then the suspects somehow trickle down to the residential areas. The officers actually did some patrolling last week and noticed a suspicious vehicle, went to go try to pull it over, and it took off from him, and that didn't fit our chase policy, so we had to let it go. So we do identify suspect vehicles, and we follow up with those leads that we get, whether it's a suspicious vehicle inside the town or just somebody walking around with the tools in their hand that we know that they're going to use to break into a car at 12 o'clock in the morning. So we definitely follow up on all leads, and we definitely will appreciate if everybody can just give us a call. Even if it's nothing being broke, if nothing was taken from your car, still give us a call because that helps us. And a lot of times what happens is suspects that break into a car and either Edmonston or Prince George's or another local law enforcement agency will get the car and find valuable items. But because the person didn't call 911 and we had no way to document it, we can't link that suspect to multiple vehicle break-ins. They're just going to jail for that one.
Thank you, Chief. Greatly appreciate that. Are there any other comments? I see many people here. I'm so happy to see have some company tonight. Go ahead and unmute if you have a question or concern. This is your opportunity. Please state your name and your address so we can have it for the record. All right. So thanks again for your comment, Ms. Vicky, and concern, and Chief, for the excellent work our police department is doing. We know that you can't be everywhere all the time, but if you can definitely assign some officers there. And the concern of our bike trail and the safety of our pedestrians and bikers. And we appreciate your comments tonight. So I'll go ahead and close the public comment section if there isn't anyone else. Perfect. Okay, thank you. So we're now going to move on to our new business, which is the approval of our minutes. Mayor's phone is usually on silent. The approval of our minutes, and it will be our October the 11th work session meeting minutes, as well as our October the 11th regular session meeting minutes. If there's a motion, I will entertain that motion right now.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson votes aye. How do you vote, Mr. Ronald?
Aye.
Ms. McCulley?
Aye.
And Ms. Tuberville?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the minutes have been approved. The next item is the consideration of approval of our general orders, section 328-410. Is there a motion to approve this addition to our general orders?
I'll make
I
the
move we
motion.
approve.
I'll second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tuberville and Ms. McCulley. How do you vote, Mr. Ronald?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. McCulley?
Aye.
And Ms. Tuberville?
Aye.
All right. Those general orders have been approved. Again, thank you for your work on it. As we continue, the next item is the consideration of approval of the job description for the position of police lieutenant. Our police chief, Eric Beal, has revamped the position job description, and you can go ahead and expound on it if you'd like.
No problem. So the police lieutenant position is replacing the captain's job description. So only thing that I did when coming up with this job description was retitle it as lieutenant. We no longer have a patrol captain or a captain at all. We go from the chief to lieutenant to sergeant and then patrol officers. We have one police officer first class or PFC, which is PFC Ortiz. And then that lieutenant will also have to be physically fit, not physically fit, but be in physical good shape in order to pass the state mandated physical, which is due every year.
And so, I'm sorry. So one of the purposes that you said that about them being physically fit is because a lieutenant processes paperwork and is in the office as well as on patrol. So
yeah. So our lieutenant, he will be same thing with patrol. So he would do part of his day in the office with any admin work, assisting me with anything, assisting the town with anything. And then the other half of his day or the other half of his work week, however he wants to break it down, he will be out patrolling with the officers. So not only would you see me on the street as well, you would see the police lieutenant. So you see the entire department out on the streets, taking calls, doing premise checks. So that way you're just not only seeing the patrol division of the department, you're seeing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone. Chief, we've been corresponding about that. Do we need to put that in there?
I think we should.
Yes.
Just copy in what the state mandate, the new law is for the reform, and all it is stating that what the breakdown is. They got to do the dummy drag pull, the staircase climb, and everything is in time. It's just that seeing that they got the ability and the strength to complete those tasks.
Okay. Yeah, I think that should be added to that.
Superb. So I'll accept the motion with the recommended revision to the police lieutenant job description.
I'll make the motion with the additional wording.
Second.
Thank you. How do you vote, Ms. Serrano?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
All right, Ms. Tuberville and Ms. McCulley.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. Thank you very much. And the next item is the consideration of an employment contract with Eric J. Beal, serving as our police chief. On Friday, we formally swore in Mr. Eric Beal as our police chief. We were elated, and so was he and his family. Again, we're grateful to have him here, and I'm very proud to have him as our chief. So when you have your chief is under a contract, and we actually approved that contract. In that contract are benefits as well as salary and what we require of our chief and what he will give. So we talked about his contract, we read over it, and at this time, I'll accept a motion to approve the contract with Chief Beal.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Serrano.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Turberville. How do you vote, Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Serrano?
Aye.
Ms. Turberville?
Aye.
And Ms. McCauley?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. All right, so we have a contract with our new police chief. Yay. Okay, our next item is our police chief, his report.
Thank you. So I'm gonna start off with the code compliance. First of all, let me say, for those of you who didn't know, Inspector Romero, she decided to take another offer with a job. She is now their police clerk at the city of Cheverly. I think it's city town. So her last day with us was yesterday. She will be missed. She did a good job. And so she actually sent me her last report as of yesterday. She has, for the month of October, issued 14 municipal infractions, 14 violation warning letters, 2 stop work orders, 4 parking citations, conducted 3 business inspections, and did 14 code violation follow-ups. Part of that inspection, she did 3 flood mitigation grant inspections, issued 1 business license, and got in contact with some employees from Prince George's County Code Enforcement regarding 2 properties in the town with continuous violations. And any questions in reference to her report? For the police department, give me 1 second. We're doing good. We had 0 homicides, 0 felonious assaults, 0 burglaries, 2 auto thefts, 1 theft, and 2 theft remados. The officers issued 15 parking tickets, issued 50 moving violations, conducted 60 premise checks throughout the town. And what a premise check is basically an officer posting up with their cruise lights on from 30 minutes to 45 minutes just to be visible in the town and deter any crime. Conducted 20 vehicle impounds and answered 100 calls for service. Our rear light camera generated $8,374. Any questions for the report? Also, in other words, thank you, Mayor, for also inviting First Sergeant Barnes from MDTA to the swearing in. He loved it. Like I told you, he loved the potato. I'm sorry, what was
Banana.
it? But yeah. So we're working on so I'm gonna start working on an MOU with them to help us with high visibility traffic control. So the part of it is hopefully next spring or next summer when the vehicle traffic starts to pick up in town, our main focus would be the Decatur Street corridor. I brought to his attention the numerous of stop sign violations. We post the officer there. They conducted traffic stops, but for every car that we pull over, it's 3 cars behind us that's running that same stop sign. So the plan is to incorporate and join forces with MDTA and come down here. And they have motorcycles where they can actually get more vehicles. So there'd be a joint task force with Edmonston and MDTA police. We would hit the Decatur Street corridor first, and we'd let that run for about a good week or however long I can keep them. If it's 2 days, I'm gonna do the best I can do in 2 days. And then we're gonna phase off and we're gonna go into all the Kenworth Avenue corridor to enforce everything from speeding, reckless driving, and impaired driving. And that way we can help focus on the county's zero vision for traffic fatalities on Kenworth Avenue. They're also going to partner up with us with our Shop with a Cop event. They're going to send down a trooper as well that they can come shop with a cop with us. Any questions for that?
Excellent.
Thank you. That's all I have.
That's great. Yes.
I have a question, Mayor.
Any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering how the revenue that is, or the money for doing tickets for the red light camera is Are we like on target for what we estimated would be coming in for that on a monthly basis, or where does that sit?
Chief,
You want me to
can you
answer,
answer
Chief?
that?
So we're not on target. The issue is basically the cameras aren't good enough to capture the actual tag from what we were told by Ultimate. So for instance, let's say a month, 2 weeks time frame, actually, we would get 2,000 citations. However, out of those 2,000 citations, 1,000 of them are getting washed out because they're bad images. So by the time it comes to us for approval, we approve them and then we send back to Ultimate. But then out of that 1,000 tickets that we approve, maybe like 120 people will pay. And so it's really the main goal was for the safety aspect of Kenilworth Avenue. But what's happened is if the people aren't getting violations saying that they were speeding or running a red light, they're not going to correct their actions. And that's the issue that we're having.
Our red light camera revenue has actually increased some, and it's on target to match our budget. The problem area is the speed camera. And the other thing that Ultimate told us in our conference call with them last week, that they admitted finally that the location of installing them on the existing red light cameras versus the location they did the study at down in front of Fountain Park Apartments is also creating a problem of, as you know, most people slow down for an intersection, or if they see that light coming, they're going to slow down to not speed through a red light. But so we've got a couple of things. They claim they're changing. We haven't got $1 or a dime of revenue from speed camera yet. It's been in place since July. So it's a difficult situation, and we're trying to stay on them to figure out the solutions. They have acceptance rates of like 28%, I believe, 1 month, and that rate is supposed to be in the 80 to 90% range. And so they are adjusting and trying to correct that. But at some point in time, Chief and I may be back to you to say, okay, we have to find a different company and with better technology and to accomplish the task of slowing traffic down on Kenilworth.
So this is their camera.
Correct.
That is
we pay our contract with them is we pay per camera per month, $11,990.
So we're losing money on this.
At this point in time, we're in the hole. We haven't collected anything.
We're actually like losing money.
We don't know yet because the other problem we've had is they had not been sending us a monthly report. So we got that corrected. So we'll receive a August, September, October report in the next 7 days.
Since our town attorney is here, Mr. Deloge, it seems to me that they are not living up to, I mean, I don't have the contract in front of me, but if this is their camera and their camera is what is faulty, why in the world would we be paying them like for the services of those months where they've only been able to clear 28% of the images taken? Right?
You're absolutely correct. I mean, if they were good, you know, from a legal standpoint is one thing, but from a customer service standpoint, that's a question also. We can take a look at the contract and see what our, what avenues we have to recoup some of that money if you would like. But that is totally unacceptable.
Rod, we haven't paid them anything.
Correct. No, we don't. They collect all the money, so they hold the money. And obviously, the way that the contract was written, they subtract the monthly fees that they have before they process any revenue payments to us. And if you recall, it was cumulative. So if say August, the expenditures outweighed the revenues, the difference would carry over to September, and it would keep carrying over till eventually at the end of the contract year, if there was still a negative, it would be forgiven by them potentially. But I agree with Judge Deloge. I think he needs to take a look at the contract and see what advise Chief and I on how we can go back to them on this issue of the quality of the camera, and then also of the location. They told us it would be, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be several months now yet before they can get the cameras moved to the location that they did the speed study on.
And
So they also made the decision. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I signed the permit maybe like 2 months ago for them to start the process of putting the utility poles up. And when we checked with him last week, he said that still hasn't been sent up.
No, I think they said that there was no problem with the state. It was utility issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need a strongly worded letter from our town attorney.
I agree.
I don't disagree. I think you're right, Councilmember Tuberville.
This is a racket.
Yeah.
So was it their idea to put the camera not where they did the study?
So the plan behind that was to get the program running, was to attach it to the existing camera because we didn't need a lot of permits at the time. We just needed to get the approval from State Highway to post it right there.
Okay.
And then once they got the utility permit from the county, then they can go and they can dig into the ground in front of Fountain Park. Was it Fountain Park or Elizabeth Landing?
I think it was Fountain Park.
And so when I talked to other chiefs about the situation, they're having the same issue that we're having. They're paying for basically poor technology.
Wow.
Which municipality was that?
It was multiple of them. I do know one thing. One of them was, I think Detroit Heights left. Sea Pleasant was one of them.
Quite a few that are.
Yeah. But Rod, you said you and Chief are looking at different companies, maybe to come in and replace the company we have now.
Well, yeah, if they aren't going to meet our what we need to accomplish the goal of slowing traffic down, and while I don't like it as a negative revenue, we were counting on $240,000 that they gave us an estimate for this budget, and that's why I say we haven't seen a dime yet. We're 5 months into the budget, and so we're not going to see $240,000. We based our whole budget off of having that revenue source, so that's why I'm bringing you adjustments at 6 months, because we're not going to meet those expectations. And we didn't know that there was the issue of the technology until we met with them after we hounded them to get that information.
Wow. For what it's worth, I think Seat Pleasant's speed camera is working just fine.
I mean, Sarah, if one doesn't get you, the other one right down the street will.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's probably one right there on MLK making that right.
Because I drive from here to Capitol Heights Elementary School, and I've learned this lesson the hard way a few times.
Did you say something about Capitol Heights Elementary School?
Mm-hmm.
I went there.
You did?
I went there. That was my elementary school.
An alumni.
Yes.
Judge,
We like it a lot. It's our first year there. My daughter's in second grade.
Judge, this week I heard that one of the communities here in town that have speed cameras says they have to pay revenue to the state. I don't recall that in the law that the state shared in the revenue from speed cameras. Is that?
That's news to me.
Okay, good. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm thinking maybe because it would be a state highway that.
That's the only thing. If it was on a state highway.
Well, of course, ours is, but.
Yeah, I was just saying that's what Kenilworth Avenue is.
So I don't know. I'm going to follow up with the University Park and see what she was talking about, because she told us that they sent a check for $520,000 to the state for their for their speed camera from their community. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, let me know about that conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Chief. Mr. Barnes?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have very much tonight. I want to thank Daria Faison. She's on here as our acting clerk tonight. It's her first time, and we appreciate her filling in for Avery. So I know she's going to do a great job. And I also want to commend Asha and Mayor Gant's vision of having her on board. She took the website and really ran with it, and you saw tonight those results. You're going to see even more. We now have the ability to send out texts to people that sign up with us to remind them of an event. So the day of the event, the day before, we can do a blast out text that says, hey, come on down, do whatever. And so that ability is as a result of her work. So I want to commend her and thank her for that. Appreciate the trunk or treat event. It was a big success. Chief and the staff did a great job. Council was there helping, and we did have a Halloween contest that we awarded for 4 places. In that, we're celebrating Veterans Day Thursday evening at the Rec Center. It's casino night, so come on down, play bingo. If you're a veteran, please let us know so that we can honor you with dinner, a special dinner for the evening. So that starts at 6 o'clock at the Rec Center. We'll be passing out our Thanksgiving turkeys on November 17th. And then don't forget, as I said in the work session, Christmas Caravan and Santa's Workshop event is on Saturday, December 2nd. It's hard to believe we're closing in on that, but we are. We also received a joint grant with the Port Towns to provide computers to low-income families that don't have access to those computers. So we'll be, I think we have 50 that we'll be receiving and then be distributing out. 2 events to remind you guys of, and you need to tell me which one you want to go. I'll send out details more about the second event. On Tuesday, November 28th at 6 p.m. is the Port Towns Quarterly Meeting. It is the first one back live in person. It's at Colmar Manor Town Hall, and we are going to be working on the Port Towns Sustainable Action Plan for certification renewal with the Department of Housing and Community Development. So if you can make it to that, that would be super. But also that same night, the Senator Alonzo Washington has determined that he would like to do a District 22 legislative dinner, inviting all 7 communities, elected officials, and town administrators to that event. It is also on November 28th at 5:30 p.m. at Hyattsville Town Hall, and each University Park, Greenbelt, Riverdale Park, us, New Carrollton, and University. Did I say University Park? There's 7 of us. Berwyn Heights. All will have representatives there. Mayor Gant will be there to put forth our priorities and our ask for bond bill help on projects that could be there. So let me know which one you want to be a participant of, and I will let that individual know. Dinner comes with either one. So I have already signed up Councilmember Johnson and Councilmember Serrano at Port Towns, but if you'd rather be at the District 22 event, just let me know. And I believe that's it, Mayor. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, everyone is invited to the District 22. If you'd like to attend with me, you can split it if you want. That's just fine, however you want to do it, or, not attend. Thank you so much. Any questions for Mr. Barnes? Superb. All right, time for our council dialogue. And Ms. McCulley, I will let you go first.
What was that comment not to attend? Was that directed to me, not to attend?
I don't know. Tuberville, McCulley, I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna go back on
It was not directed at anyone. I was just saying that.
Sarah. I know, we're the black sheep of the group.
No. Oh, Sarah, did you say something that was? Ooh.
I said it's fine.
Oh, no, really.
I'm gonna get back onto the bike path and Decatur Street. It is a mess, and I think I more than once have brought it up about the cars running the stop signs on Decatur Street. And for a while there, the blinking signs were doing, they were doing something. They were distracting and people were slowing up. But some of these corners are so dark at night. I don't know, we need a floodlight or something like that for people to see. The bike paths, yes, there are a lot of the mini bikes, the motorcycles that are coming up and down that. Bikes, we have some great bike riders that let us know when they're coming behind us. And then we have some that just, they don't care. Along with people that walk on there, I've seen them actually get in front of some of the bikes. So if Park and Planning can do something about patrolling that area, I think that would be a nice help. They did come in and paint the lines because at one time the lines had faded. So I don't know what more we can do other than get Park and Planning involved. I know Eric and the guys, I see them parked down at the Santos building and watch the one stop sign. They actually get two stop signs they get to watch, and also down off of 51st, I see them down there. So thank you, Eric, for that. And thank you especially when the buses come. They're on 52nd, which is a big help. Other than that, there, I guess we'll go to McDonald's that night.
Miss Serrano.
I don't have much to say. I just wanted to congratulate all our neighboring municipalities who had elections yesterday. A lot of great leadership won yesterday, and I know also Greenbelt passed non-citizen voting. So just wanted to publicly congratulate everyone and all the new leadership and returning leadership. I think I can speak for this whole town that we look forward to continuing to work with all the municipalities. So
yeah, thank you.
Tony, can I ask you a question? Do you know the other municipalities around us besides Greenbelt that have non-citizen voting?
Almost all of them. So Mount Rainier has it. I think Colmer Manor, Brentwood, College Park, maybe.
Oh wow.
Hyattsville.
First.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little behind the 8 ball on that one, I guess, huh?
If there's a desire, yeah. We can have a discussion about that. Get some parameters set.
Okay.
Definitely.
Was that your comment, Ms. Tuberville?
No, I have one thing.
Okay.
And that is, I just really wanted to thank Ron and Avery and Steve and Dave for installing the bench near the Crittenden Street playground, and with a plaque that is dedicated to my mom. So it's really lovely, and it's in a beautiful spot. It's like a wonderful addition to that space over there. So, so thank you. And then I just wanted to add to what Betsy was saying about the intersection of Decatur and Taylor Road. I wonder if to some degree, like drivers' frustration with the runaround that we have to do because of WSSC's work is contributing to some like aggression over there in that particular space. But I do think that the gentleman who came up from College Park is right, which is that I don't think drivers know that they have to yield to cyclists. And so I do wonder if it would be useful for us to have any additional signage that would maybe be under the stop signs or whatever it might be that says, yield to bikes and peds.
Mm-hmm. Or just the bike sign or something. Yeah.
I don't think it's due to the WSSC because this has been going on for a while.
Okay.
I think some of the problem at that one intersection there is where the stop sign is the crossing. And usually what happens, a car will stop at the stop sign. If no one's there, then they start through the cross where the crosswalk is. And then they stop again at the corner because usually somebody coming off a
It's a weird, you're absolutely right. It's a weird, like, you get to the crosswalk before you get to the stop sign.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of confusing. And another thing that's, I think, contributing to it, because I say 5 out of 7 days I'm there. Sometimes the bikes and even walkers, they just go right across the crosswalk. They don't stop and see if a car has stopped at the stop sign, has started to go through, and then they're in the crosswalk.
Yeah.
There's fault on both sides.
Twofold, yeah.
And it's somehow or another, if I don't know, Rod, if that whole intersection can be redesigned to where the stop sign is, or to where the crossing's got to stay where the crossing is. Because, and Rod's doing what we do. He's on mute.
We could have Benoni look at it, our traffic engineers, and see if there's anything we could do differently. You know, we could put blinking stop signs on the trail part. There is stop signs there, but we could put flashing ones. It's just what you described. It's horrible. I always stop at the bike crossing and then I stop again at the stop sign, but a lot of people don't do that, and so that's what creates the conflict. But we could,
or when you do it, you could also be like on like the backside of your car can end up like blocking the crosswalk.
And a lot of the bikers get mad, and I've seen cars get slapped in the back end. Is there any way we could look into maybe blinking lights that are actually in the road? I've seen them at some crossings where when cars are coming up, if people are starting to and there's a sign saying when lights are flashing, stop.
I have seen those.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a grant, Chief, that we could do.
The thing is, you're going to have the those who run stop signs. Yeah. Period. But I think that the stop signs are in the best place in that intersection, and some people do, like me, and I know Mr. Barnes stops at the walk path, the bike path, and I think that's just our consciousness of walkers or bikers, and not everybody does. Some people just go straight and stop at the stop sign. The idea that you have with flashing lights, though, I think that we could probably have some kind of signage or flashing lights that prepares someone to pay attention to the bikers or the stop sign. We don't want tons of signs all over the place, but something that is preparing them for what's coming up. Again, sometimes we can flood ourselves with stop signs. All of our municipalities have a gazillion stop signs. Yep. And what happens is when you mention frustration, it's not necessarily frustration from WSSC, Ms. Tuberville, but people get, they're in a rush. I got to stop at this corner. Then I got to stop at the next corner. Then I have a speed hump. Then I have to stop again. So they're going to slide through. I think that's something that is going to happen until they start getting tickets and stuff. But
we can get a dozen eggs and sit in the pavilion, and when they run it, we can start throwing eggs at them.
But we can try to do what we can to slow them down. Besides tickets, but I say give them tickets. Okay. Is Ms. Tuberville, anything else?
No, thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
I didn't really have anything, but as far as people on the motorized, on the motorized bikes, There's no park police presence around here. Every now and then, you might see a park police. And most time I see them, they're going down Kenilworth Avenue. But I'll never see them like in the town, maybe once a month. But their presence is not really known.
There's a food in it.
Maybe that's a new project for the new chief.
No, in the sink. Is it in the sink?
Got you, Mr. Johnson.
Take it out.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was you out there with me. I got your red light for you.
Run some water to wash it. Just run some water in there.
Yeah.
Plastic. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The only thing that I have is that, yes, on November 28th, as Mr. Barnes mentioned, with our legislators, District 22. Also, December 8th is the PGCMA legislative meet and greet, and that'll be at the Equestrian Center. It's possible that we might have to change that date because Mako, I think their last day is the 8th. Is it from the 6th to the 8th, Ms. Coney? Do you know? I think it's from the 6th to the
6th to the 8th.
Yeah, and that might affect our legislators attending, and we don't want to talk to ourselves. I mean, we invited the governor, and we just got a email today that said he can't attend because he's going to be at Mako. So Mako, trumped us. So that's the 8th, and I will update you on that if it changes. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the sheriff's office reached out to us. I'm trying to get my my text, and they want us to participate with a program that's called Speak Up, Speak Out, Speak Loud. And a brief description is it's an empowerment workshop to help bridge the gap with youth, officers, parents, elected officials, and the community. We'll meet with the youth to give them an opportunity to tell us what they need from us. And the us is the officers, the adults, the parents, all of that. And there's a breakout room for discussions, teaching of knowing your rights. There'll be music, food, etc. The date is going to be December the 9th or the 16th from 1 to 5 p.m. So that would be in collaboration with the port towns. It'll be Bladensburg, Comer Manor, Cottage City, and us. So would you like to participate, Council and Chief?
I can participate.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, we got the buy-in. All right, excellent. All right, so that's all I have. Other than if no one else has anything for the good of the order, I'll accept the motion. And thank you so much for our guests that came, our residents. Thank you so much for coming tonight, signing on. We appreciate it. And congratulations again to our police chief, Eric Beal. Thank you so much, Ms. Faison, for being on and pitching in. That's part of teamwork. So now if no one else has anything for the good of the order, I'll accept the motion. And of course, Judge DeLoach, we always appreciate your input, your comments, everything. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn it and to thank Asha for sticking the whole meeting out on mute.
Yes, Asha.
As always.
No, thank you, Ms. Asha, for your expertise. So, Ms. McCauley made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. And also, point of discussion, I just wanted to say congratulations again to Mr. Barnes. In October, that was year 10 for you with us? 10.
No, it's 9. I'm going on to my 10 now.
Okay. 9. All right. All right. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. This meeting is
Have a good night.
good night.